Welcome back to Scotty's Hobbies. Today, May 8th, 2025, finally the House spoke about House Joint Resolution 87, 88, and 89. I've been watching every day the Senate proceedings and I haven't heard anything about them. Like, did I miss something? What is going on? They finally talked about them today. I'm gonna go over that in this video. I'm also gonna correct myself on a prediction that I made in one of my past videos about how the process is gonna go getting these bills through the Senate. Before we get too far in this video, please hit that like button right now. Subscribe and hit the ring bell. Make sure you check out the video library for other helpful emissions deregulations videos and a ton of helpful DIY automotive videos if you are maintaining your own vehicle. Now, let's get into what happened today. First off, I really thought I missed something. I'm like, what is going on? Why have these bills not hit the Senate floor? I expected these to go way faster than they are really going, but they actually have been talked about today. There was one speech in favor of getting these House Joint Resolutions passed and 3 in opposition. I'm very much in favor of these bills getting passed. I don't think we should have an EV mandate, a gas ban, and I don't think we should make it harder and more expensive for big rigs to be purchased or operate in the state of California. Just that makes it way more expensive for everything. The goods that we buy, transportation of everything, it's horrible. I'm trying to give you guys real facts about what's going on. There's a lot of people out there just giving you false information about what these bills really mean, and I want you guys to be able to do your own research and come up with your own conclusions. So I'm going to go over everything that happened today, and I'm also going to provide a full video to all of the speeches, or the whole speeches. That's going to be a pretty long video, and you'll be able to go watch that right up here. Make sure you go watch them and come up with your own conclusion, please. First off, Senator John Barroso. He was in favor of these House Joint Resolutions passing, which, again, I am too. He mentions that the Biden-era EPA should not have granted these waivers to CARB on their way out the door, especially after Trump was already elected, and not giving an opportunity for these bills or resolutions to be looked at. Second, he thinks we should have the option of what vehicle we buy. An ICE vehicle, a hybrid vehicle, an EV, anything. We should have the option. And we also shouldn't make it harder for big rigs to be purchased or operated in California.
Mr. President, on another matter, in 2024, in November, on Election Day, voters demanded more economic freedom and less government overreach. President Trump and Republicans in Congress heard them. The state of California did not. Congress must now act to protect the rights of the American people to drive the gas-powered vehicles that they want to drive. Last week, House Republicans, with 35 House Democrats joining all of the Republicans, voted to defend that freedom and to defeat this California mandate. And it's now up to the Senate to finish the job.
Now, in opposition, you had Alex Padilla. He was the first one up there in opposition. He just rambled on about how California is the leader in making emissions laws and the leader of just cleaning up the air. It was just not too much helpful information came out of his speech, but
the larger war on California's climate leadership and progress is not new. Thanks to the Clean Air Act, for 50 years, California has had the legal authority to set its own emission standards to protect the health of our residents and our natural resources. This authority was granted by Congress on a bipartisan basis in recognition of California's unique air quality challenges, but also its capabilities as policy leaders.
You'll be able to go watch that. If you look at that link I posted up there or a link in the description, you'll be able to go check out the full speeches as well. But we had a Rhode Island senator named, Sheldon Whitehouse. He presented the facts or the argument that I really just think set up the groundwork for why this bill or these bills are going to end up in court after everything gets passed to the Senate and hits the president's desk. Why do I think these are going to end up in court? Well, Sheldon Whitehouse went over what the CRAs actually can cover and the time that they should be able to cover a rule. He also mentioned that the Senate parliamentarian is against these waivers being subject to CRAs. as well as the GOA mentioning that these waivers should not be subject to CRAs. Let's take a quick look at what he had to say.
The Congressional Review Act creates a fast-track procedure in the Senate to disapprove agency rules. For the most part, that Congressional Review Act, the CRA, is focused on rules during a short period immediately after they're made final and before they go into effect. We get a window where we can disapprove the rule from Congress.
Sheldon Whitehouse had the best argument to why these bills should not be subject to CRAs. And I really think, like I said before, that was just setting up the groundwork of why these bills or House Joint Resolutions are going to end up in court. And if you don't think they're going to end up in court, well, listen to what the Representative Morgan Griffin from Virginia had to say during the House hearings last week. He also thinks they're going to end up in court. Let's listen to him.
That while CRAs can't be reviewed by the courts when this passes, and I think it will, notwithstanding outside objectors, CRAs technically can't be reviewed by the courts. It will be interesting to see when it gets to the Supreme Court, because I believe the Supreme Court will agree with me.
Okay. Last but not least, we had Pencil Neck Adam Schiff.
We got him lined up, Adam. You little pencil neck.
California helped launch the modern environmental movement. In 1966, California became the first state to regulate tailpipe emissions to tackle this smog head on. In fact, some of our biggest achievements and biggest actions took place under Republican governors.
He made his speech, again, just letting you know that California is the cleanest, yada, yada. It wasn't too much to listen to. Make sure you go pay attention to everything that these speeches, or how these speeches were made or what they had to say, because I think there's a lot of confusion out there about what is really going to happen. In my personal opinion, I really think the waivers that were granted by the Biden-era EPA are just going to be deregulated, and that's it. So we're going to have no more gas ban. The Omnibus Low NOx Rule is going to be deregulated. There's going to be no more EV mandate. But are CARB regulations really going to be affected? I don't know about that. Are we going to have emissions checks in 2 months? I think so. Now, what I really don't think is going to happen, there's going to be no more waivers granted to CARB during the Trump administration. And I'm kind of for that too. We don't need much more deregulation. I mean, we don't need much more regulation on vehicles that we are currently driving or that we're going to be purchasing in the future. So I really don't think the CARB needs any more waivers granted to them as it is right now. What I did want to correct myself about in one of my previous videos was I thought that these House Joint Resolutions would go to a committee and then be on the Senate floor for a vote. Well, that's not going to happen. Really, these House Joint Resolutions are just going to hit the Senate floor. They're going to vote on, should they vote on it for one. If they say yes, then they're actually going to do a vote on passing these deregulations. So this process might be really fast. And do you think it's going to be fast? Do you think it's going to take a while? Do you think this is going to end up in court? What do you really think about what's going on? Please comment below and let me know your opinion. And if I'm missing something out there, if there's real facts that's not opinion pieces, make sure to leave those links in the comments below as well, so I could go do my research, make sure I get schooled on something if I'm missing it. And I really appreciate you guys watching and listening to what I have to say. Make sure to check out the video library. I will see you guys on the next hopefully helpful video.